Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. So today I'm making another small video about a game that I've made quite a lot of videos about recently, which is Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr. And this video is not going to be like the others where I'm making a specific point or something I realised about the game. It's literally just because I was playing it and I thought, okay, this is something I'd like to mention. So if you've watched the channel recently, you'll know that I've played quite a lot of looter shooters, Division 2, Borderlands, Rage 2. I'd say they all fall into that category roughly, same as this game. And they all have good things about them. So there's things about each one that I like and don't like. Actually, there's more things about all those games that I like and don't like. There's not really many things I don't like. But this one, I would say, is the one, if someone said they want one to pick up that's got quite an interesting story, because I would say Rage 2 hasn't got a very interesting story, and also want something that's easy, relatively easy, let's just full stop there. This is the one I would say to go for. Borderlands is not easy. It's a game where you'll get killed a lot, and that's fine, but it is what it is. You're not going to go into Borderlands and go through a mission, especially early on, but I never do anyway, without being killed. And as with Borderlands, if you get killed, you have to kind of regenerate yourself, and it costs money. So you can actually kind of end your whole playthrough by dying too often and running out of resources. And it's not an easy game. That doesn't make it bad, just drop into. Division 2 is not an easy game, especially early on. It's not an easy game. As I've said before on this channel, there's tons going on in the Division 2, because it's an online game generally, and because it's meant to be a multiplayer game generally, and there's loads of different bits and pieces to it that are sort of hard to get your head around if you're not used to that. It's also not an easy game either. You'll get killed a lot in that. And I wouldn't say the story in the Division 2 is wildly interesting either. And I love the Division 2, so I'm not knocking the game. I just don't think the story is very captivating. I mean, the gameplay is fun, a lot of fun, and that carries it, but the story isn't that gripping. And the same with all those three games, actually, Borderlands, and the same with Rage 2. I've not played all through Borderlands, and I've not played as much of that as the other two, but so far I'm not finding the story in that as gripping either. Maybe it gets better later, but this game has got an interesting story. It's got a mystery kind of story. You're uncovering what's happened to this mystery ship and what's been going on, why it suddenly appeared, a bit like Event Horizon, suddenly appeared from being lost for many years, or in this case centuries. And so that's interesting, and the setting and the art style is interesting. I've already said that I like these kind of Warhammer games. I really like Underhive Wars. I liked Hired Gun, but I'm rubbish at it, so I've kind of given up trying to play it for the moment. But this is like an Underhive Wars and a Hired Gun that's in real time, but it's not as difficult as Hired Gun, because also you're playing it in third person, and I find third person much easier than first. So as you can see, if you've never seen the combat in this, it's fun. It's fun, but it's not that kind of one-shot kill thing you get in Borderlands. You get it in the Division 2. Not as much in Rage 2, but Rage 2 had other things. It had a not very interesting story. The gameplay was fun, but also it meant a lot of travelling around the map to do stuff. And this is, in essence, it's an arena shoot. You go into the ship or a landscape that's not massive, and you clear the area, do the mission, and come out. So it's not open world like that, and that again makes it quite easy to grasp. So for all those reasons, I would say this is a game that I find it the easiest to come back into without sort of remembering. I can literally pick up the controls in this and just start, because I don't have to worry about paying for my failures as I would do in Borderlands, or being one-shot killed, or being killed quickly as I would be in Division 2, or running around the whole map to get to places, and then you can transport in Rage 2. But yeah, you don't. It's very simple. I like, as I said before, I like the way on the left you can see all the controls, and it tells you, in case you don't remember, everything you need to remember, which is, I think, is really cool. There's very few games that do that, actually. I can't think of any other game offhand. I'm sure there is, but I can't think of another game where it's got literally all the controls that you're going to use in the game laid out on the left on a panel, and you can just look and glance and see, I need to press R2 for this, and circle for this, and I think that's very, very helpful if you are someone like me who's got a bad memory for what controls do and you don't play a game often, or if you play many games, it's very easy to forget what controls do in different games. If I went into Rage 2 now, which I played absolutely ton, let me just go and kill these people, because in this game I can do any amount of combat that I'm talking. Yeah, it's in Rage 2, if I went back into that now, I would struggle for a while to remember which controls do what. I'd remember, but getting the flow of the controls and which ones you press in certain ways, even the things about changing up weapons, I guarantee you that I would forget. But in this, you don't need to remember. I do remember, but I don't need to. And I think that makes it very good. And there's tons of DLC for this. There's loads of other bits and pieces you can do. A bit like the Division 2, but it's not mind-bogglingly complicated, because you really don't need to pay any attention to anything other than just doing the missions. I've not found anything that I didn't quite understand. There's a few things you would learn later in game as to why you're picking up certain resources and stuff like that, but other than that, there's things you learn in any game as you go along. But yeah, I found it very well explained. It's very easy to play, it's very easy to understand what you're meant to be doing and what you're doing. It's not a difficult game, I wouldn't say at all. You get killed, I've been killed, there's some enemies that are boss enemies that are very, very difficult, and it's easy to accidentally get overwhelmed as well. I've certainly been on missions where I've had, you can see on the very far left there's a little run of red dots, and they're my lives. And I've had missions where I've run out of those and been on last life. You do get a certain amount, I think you get three deaths in a mission as well, but in some missions anyway. But I've certainly got to dying points, and I've been killed in missions, but you won't have that all the time, and it'll be a very specific boss that you find difficult. And usually the only way you'll die, unless you're very careless, is it'll be because you find a mission where there's 3 or 4 difficult bosses, and you've already lost quite a lot of life getting to the last one. That's how I found it anyway. But it's also a very easy game to play as a melee or as a ranged. It's easy to swap out weapons. And I would say to anyone who wants to play a shooter game that's kind of a simplistic-ish game without a really in-depth story, that's very easy to pick up, very easy to remember, and just fun, this is the one. Because it's the one that I would think of those 4 that I've mentioned is the one that's going to be the most easy to pick up, the most easy to play, and the one where you're not going to end up dying a lot. And like I said, the story in this game is interesting. The voice acting is very good, I would say, in this game.
This area needs to be clean.
Got a bit of it there. Voice acting is very good. It's very apt for the character. And yeah, it looks good. I mean, the way you can see here, the way the characters explode into little bits, and the explosions look good, the shooting looks good. It all has a very good feel to it. So yeah, this is a game I would recommend. I would recommend all those other games, by the way, in different ways, but with little provisos, which is, you know, maybe you need to be ready to play a hard game. If you die too many times, you don't want to be doing that, so you don't want to go into it when you're tired, you don't want to go into it when you might make a mistake. This game doesn't matter if you make a mistake, because you will be hard pushed to die enough times to run out of lives. So, and there's no loss to dying other than you just use it. And you can use your lives, you can easily use your health packs to regenerate yourself. So unless you run out of all your lives, or as occasion will have it, you forget to heal yourself when you're nearly dead. That's happened to me a few times. You won't die. So it's, like I said, it's a game that I would recommend as a kind of fun base game where you don't really, I don't know what that is, that can die, whatever it is. I think I'll throw a grenade on it, whatever it is. Things. Yeah, the animation is very good in this as well. So yeah, I would recommend all those games in different ways, in different moods. But if I had to pick one as the, yeah, just play that because I'm, you know, chilled out and I want to play a nice, simple but fun game with a quite interesting story, a very good graphics. That's the one I would go for because It's almost like and it's hard to think of in a fast-paced shooting game. It's almost like a stress-free game, and a lot of those games is a lot of stress. When you're getting killed, you get annoyed, you feel, game of age, you get annoyed, you feel stressed, you get killed at the wrong point, Whereas this isn't that at all. It's a very stress-free, fast-paced shooting game, and that's a lot actually, because there's a place in gaming, of course, for games where you're creeping through a mission as with Division 2, Borderlands, get killed and it's annoying, but you've made a lot of effort and you really conquer the thing you're trying to get through. Metal Gear Solid, another one. There's lots of Phantom Pain. There's lots of games where it's fun to be really in a difficult situation and complete it. I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but it's definitely a place for a shooter game that is actually relatively simple and you won't get annoyed. I've never ever felt annoyed in this game. I've never felt frustrated. I've never died and thought, oh no, like I have in all those other games, even Rage 2 to a point. But I've never felt that in this, because it's not easy to get killed and you have to really screw up to get killed. So yeah, this is Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr. Like I said, it's really disgusting. He needs to die. Actually, I'm going to hit him with my some things in this game are much better hit with the sword. Even though it looks like the kind of thing you wouldn't want to be near at all. So let's just use the sword anyway. So yeah, Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr, a game I definitely recommend. I think I'm on level 45 now. So it's a game I've played an awful lot. Probably as much or slightly more than Division 2. And it's a game, and I've not got to any of the DLCs yet. So there's tons and tons of stuff to still go. So yeah, it's a game I enjoy a lot. Definitely recommended. From Guessagaingaming, till next time, take care for now.